Welcome back to Grump's Barn, where today I shall be carrying on with the second part of this 97 million part series. Well, no, it should only be about 4 parts of doing this refurbishment of the two swivels on this Defender 300 TDI. As you can see, the ball's not actually that bad. Now that's not too bad either, really. I'm going to do the clean up and another repaint. There is a bit of rust on it, but it's actually not as bad as it looked. There's rust all on here, but that'll be cleaned up and repainted before it goes back on. Oh, hang on. As you can see, I've knocked out the braces in top and bottom. There and there. Easily done. I just use a small cold chisel in through the top, knock out the bottom one. You just get it on the edge, whack it a couple of times to loosen it, whack the other side a couple of times, and out it pops. And same with the other one, just coming through this way, knock it out. You'll note there are different sizes. That's a big one and that's a smaller one. The bigger one is at the top, the smaller one's at the bottom. How do you know it's top or bottom? Very easy, from the bolt holes. If you look, they're widely spaced, 3 at the top, and at the bottom you have 4, all fairly close. That's how they're arranged. It's not difficult. In fact, actually, it might even be the same size. Actually, they are same size. Oh, I scrub that. It looks like they're the same size. It's just an optical illusion looking here from here. It looks like that one's smaller at the back, but when you turn it around, you can see it's quite large. I haven't actually, as you can tell, I haven't actually looked at the new ones yet. I've got to check through all my stuff to make sure I've got everything I need. I think I have. I know I've got new bearings and I've got OEM bearings to go in there. I've got new pins. Pin that goes in the top is still in there. Bottom one is out at the moment, over on the floor, because I'm replacing them because they wear as much as the bearings do. And as I say, I've had no problem with these bearings, but this car has done, I think it's about 170,000 miles now, so they're bound to be worn. The other thing I've got to do is I'm going to check in a second on the CV joint on the half shaft there and see if there's any wear in that. There probably is. If there is, then I'm going to have to replace both of those. That means I'm going to have to order them. I didn't order them because I thought I'm not going to order them unless I actually need them. The thing is only about 50 quid for a pair of them. That's not bad at all. Keep it half the price. Right. Before I can get started, I've got to find my chemical metal, as it's called. It's an epoxy solution. I can't remember what the hell it's called elsewhere. It's basically a 2-part epoxy. You've got like a grey putty and a hardener that goes with it. No, won't come to me. There is an American name for it as well, but no, it's gone now. Anyway, let's go and find the bloody stuff. This could take a while. Yeah, JB Weld was the name I was looking for. That's what it's known as in America and Australia and that, I think. But as it is, I can't find it anymore. I've just been giving this a rub down with a bit of 600 grey, wet and dry, just to get some of the crap off it. And they're actually, those pits are actually pretty light, really. Not very deep at all. They're all mainly on the front side of it. Of course, that's the bit that gets the most hammering. What I might do anyway is not use the metal version. I think I'm going to go with just some epoxy glue. You know, your araldite type stuff. Got some Gorilla Glue, I think that's the same thing. I think I'm going to use some of that just to fill these in. It's only to smooth it off. It doesn't take any weight or anything. Just meant for the the seal to ride on. And as I say, once I've done it, I'm going to be covering these up with gaiters. So that will save any further damage in the future. I just need something to make this surface round again and smooth. So I think if I put some glue over that and then rub it all down, what I did last time, I'm not sure if I used the glue or the metal stuff. Can't remember now, it was a long while back and I haven't looked. But they're not leaking still, and that's well, years and years later. Although it doesn't get used that much, but even so, they've lasted well. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I think I'll get some glue that up. As I say, it's 2-part epoxy, so it goes absolutely solid when it's done. And as long as it's clean and dry, obviously I'll be cleaning this up with acetone before I put it on there. Make sure all the crap is off it. I can glue that up, leave it for a good 24 hours to set as hard as it's ever going to get. Excuse me, and then rub it all down to match everything else. So it doesn't jar on the bloody seal as it rides over it. And while we're here, I've just checked the CV joint on there and it has a teeny bit of play. Now what that's translating into when I'm driving I don't know, because it only appears to be absolutely teeny no matter which way it turns. So yes, there is somewhere in there and I think I will have to replace them just to be on the safe side. Whilst I've got it all apart, I'd be bloody silly not to. Otherwise it's a case of taking everything a bloody part again just to replace those in the near future. There should not be any play in them at all, apparently. Well, I suppose the teeniest bit, the absolutely teeny bit will be fine, but I can actually feel there's a bit of play there. So I think I will replace those. That's another bloody order I'm going to have to put in. Oh well, another little job to do. Oh, and I've just been through all the bits I've got to go on this, and I do have everything, which is great. Because I was a bit concerned that I didn't have the seal to go in the back of the sphere. But I do have it, thankfully, in the swivel kit, which comes with all the seals and bearings and everything else. Although the bearings in there are shit part ones and no name Chinesium. No, not using those. I've got some NTNs to go in there. Yes, they were more expensive, but they were cheaper than OEM. And NTN is a damn good make of Japanese bearings, so we're going for them because they should last, as these original ones have. As I say, I couldn't feel any play in them still, but I'm only replacing them because I'm doing everything at once. With a high mileage vehicle, it's obviously a good idea. Right, better go and we're cleaning this up. I've got to clean the bloody bottom of this now. Now I've established what I'm doing with the broken bits. Cracked off bloody chrome. I'm going to clean that up, and I shall clean this up while I'm at it. Ready for paint. Well, on that particular one. This one will get painted as well. But I don't know whether I'm going to paint that before I yeah, I think I might actually clean it up and paint it before I repair it. Might be an idea. Right, well that's that all cleaned off and given the once over with some acid. Just to treat the little bit of rust that's on there. Same with this. It wasn't that rusty, to be honest. And I could also get it a lot of the places I couldn't get at while it was all in one piece, which was great. So it's had a thorough bloody clean off. And it's been acid treated all over. Well, on the outside of course, not the inside. Right, that's that done for now. I'm going to leave that till tomorrow. Come back up here and I can paint them. And once the paint's dry, then I can do the repair work on that. And in the meantime, the bits I've ordered will be here, hopefully. Perhaps, maybe, you never know. Postman might remember where we live again. Right, see you in a bit. Right, back again. I've now given these a coat of paint. But I actually did it yesterday. They're now ready. And today I'm going to just be getting the glue. If you look here, see on this side of the ball, the back side, there's only a very small amount of pitting. Nice easy fix that. As I say, on this side, the front side, quite a bit. But not that bad. Seen a lot worse. Fixed bloody worse. There you get some people that will moan and say, oh, you must replace them with a new one. Bollocks to that. You don't have to replace them with a new bloody one. That's the problem with things these days. Everyone's claiming to be so green and all this fucking shit. Oh, you must protect the environment. You must reuse and recycle and fuck off. Everything gets thrown away these days. Nothing is made to be repairable anymore. But I'm old school. If I can repair it, I will. And this is infinitely repairable. As I say, it's only very light. Incredibly light on that. So it's just going to get a light coating of epoxy glue. I might have to do this in two sections. Do this bit first. I'll put that to the top, that's better. Do this bit first. Let it dry a bit. Then turn it round to do the other bit. If I try and do the whole thing at once, I'm just going to end up with glue every bloody where, which I don't want. Right, let's get on and get this bloody done. Well, there we go. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got epoxy glue all over. Everywhere it's needed. Down there as well, which is the other side. Thankfully, I managed to get it all done in one hit. Don't appear to have missed any. Oh, there's a teeny bit there. One tiddly widdly bit. Now I'll just grab that. Now I can just leave it all to dry. Once it's all dried, spend fucking ages gently sanding it down until it's nice and smooth. That's the kicker with it. It does take a while to sand it all back, so you don't sand it right out. If you do, you have to do it again. Right, leave that for now. Back to this again later. Well, that bloody glue was useless. It's a sort of epoxy that didn't set nice and solid, and it all peeled off. Quite easily actually. But I did find the proper epoxy paste, so I've redone it all, and now I've got to spend bloody ages sanding it down because I put rather too much on there. But never mind, rather too much and too little. This means more work to clean it off. Ah, dear me. Well, I shall see you in a couple of hours and show you how it's looking, hopefully. There we go. It's about an hour's worth of sanding down there. It's nearly there, but I've got to add a few bits that have been missed or have come out. As you can see there, and in there's a little bit, and there. Slight bit of over sanding, unfortunately. But the rest of this, although it might look a bit lumpy and stuff, it's not. is very, very smooth, apart from this little bit here, which I'm not too worried about at the moment. I'll chuck a bit of extra on that anyway. But no, that is all sanded right back, and it's sanded back beautifully. It's also been wet sanded as well, WD-40 and stuff, because obviously this stuff, once it's set, is impervious to most chemicals, which is lovely. Oh look, a couple of birds. Come to join me. Swift. Well, anyway, let's get on with this. I'm going to put some more on, and that's going to have to dry for hours and hours before I can sand that down. So what I think I'll probably do in the meantime, once I've done that, is get on with changing these wheel bearings, because they need doing as well. There we go. Patched up here and there, and I've chucked a bit around there. It doesn't need that much really, but it doesn't matter. It'll all get sanded back down. Most of that will end up as dust. This is the stuff. This comes as a little bit of putty, 2-part hardeners in there with it. You just spend quite a while playing with it like it was plasticine, squidging it all together to mix it thoroughly. I've put it on here a bit too thick, but again, it doesn't matter. It just needs more bloody rubbing down afterwards. It's going to be taken back to very thin like this is here. Oh, there we go. That is incredibly thin. It's so thin at the sides you can hardly even feel it, deliberately. Because obviously you don't want lumps or anything where you're going to have a rubber seal running over it. And of course the seal doesn't go all the way back here anyway, it only goes sort of about there most. But I don't want it getting any worse. And as I say, it will be hidden under a gaiter as well to protect it in future. Right, leave that. Get some gloves on in a sec. And start on these bloody wheel bearings. Right, one hub. Taking out the washer, the spacer from on top, and then you just pick out the top race, throw it away. The bottom one, however, is being held in at the moment by an oil seal. Sometimes it will just push out, sometimes you need to give it a bit of help. I need to give this a bit of help. Hang on, can't do it with one hand. So all I've done is knocked it from the top with a cold chisel. Couple of bangs. If I lift this up, you'll see it's now sitting down there. Now what I'm going to do is use a cold chisel and just get on the bottom race, which is just down in there. Give it a few knocks one side, then the other side, and maybe 90 degrees opposed again, until it eventually falls out. Then I'll flip it over and do this one as well, the same way, just knock it out from within. You've got quite a nice fat bit to knock on, which is rather handy, and they do tend to come out fairly easily. Getting the new ones in is more of a pain in the backside. There we go, they're both out, and I've given it a quick wipe out, get the old grease out. I will keep hold of one of these old ones, because they come in very handy for starting to press the new ones in. You can put that on upside down over the new bearing race you're going to be putting in there, and you can use those to start pressing it. You can hit on that rather than banging on the new race. Right, let's find these new races and I can put the buggers in. Well, I've cheated today. For the first time in my life, I have put in a bearing race with a press. But Well, as I said before, I'd never had my own press before. And for doing something like wheel bearings, it's pointless going miles up the road to a friend's garage to borrow his press. I've always just done it myself. But oh, it's so satisfying, I tell you. So easy. I recommend it. Right, let's turn it over and get the other one done. There we go. It didn't take me 5 minutes to do both these. Brilliant. Oh man, I'm chuffed. I've never had it that easy. One thing to remind people of, I'm sure you probably know anyway, just remember whenever you're doing this, make sure you mark up the bearing race that comes from each, the bearing race and the bearing that go together. Do not get them mixed up, because the two parts, the actual ball race and the ball and the race here, they're all machined together, so they're a perfect fit. If you put the wrong one in the other, you're gonna have all sorts of wear problems, and yeah, it's not worth doing. So I have actually marked, I've got the two packets exactly where I know where they are, and because it's not taking me long I can remember anyway, but one of them is marked without. On the box I've just scratched out on it, so now that's the outer bearing, and then the other one I didn't bother because that's the inner bearing. Right, so now what I've got to do is grease them up, get this inner one in. Obviously got to grease it first, put it in, because then I've got to press the oil seal over the top of it. There we are, all fitted. I always put a big smear of grease in between the two races as well as greasing up the bearing with plenty of grease. Obviously you don't overdo it. You squeeze it all into the bearing as much as you possibly can get it before putting it in. And I also smear the race with a little bit as well. Feels a little bit extra, doesn't hurt. And when it comes to fitting these particular oil seals, they're lipped, so you have to use, I mean, I've had to push it in with a much bigger adapter than normal, so I didn't touch this bloody inner lip. But yeah, with this particular model, this is one of the ones where it's fitted 4mm below. If you can see, it does actually go there, because when you push it 4mm below, it actually, there is actually a seat inside there for this to sit on, and that's exactly where it sits. So the lip on here is actually, yes, pretty much in line with the outer metal one. Right, now I can turn her over, grease up the other one, stuff that inside, and then put a seal over the top of it. So it's all ready. Well, I say seal, it's a spacer, thrush washer, call it what you will. I think it is actually a thrush washer, a big thick one that sits on top of these, on the other side, on the outer side. Yeah, I should chuck that on there as well, help stop any shit falling in it while it's waiting to be put back on. Right, let's get on. Well, there we go, that's all done now. Put the thrush washer back on, and that's all now sitting there waiting to go back on the car when it's ready, which it isn't going to be for a little bit. So I've got to wait till tomorrow to be able to rub this down. Once this is rubbed down, I can start putting it back together. Oh, I got the what I thought were retaining plates. They're actually a mud shield that go on with the stub axle. But as the other ones were rotten, a pair of those with 13 quid or something delivered, which isn't bad. Can't complain. Could have made them myself if I had the metal, but I don't, so I won't. Anyway, I think that'll do for this one. We'll call that a day, because I've got to wait again to redo this other bit, and this is got Got so much rubbish already in it that it's probably long enough for a video. Right, that's the end of part 2. Part 3 will be coming soon. Take care, people. Bye.